All right, guys, so example 2, solve for the triangle. And again, solving triangle means you're looking for missing parts. So 2a gave you psi A is 3, psi B is 2, and angle A is 40 degrees. Wow, psi, angle. Okay, we need to look into the ambiguous cases, okay? So let's draw this out. Anytime you're giving one angle, put it right here in that left corner. Yep. Left corner, put it right there, because that's the given angle. Okay, so and then that means the opposite leg is A, which is in the case 3 units. Okay, now and then that means you have the other leg, which is 2. Put it right there, make it the adjacent of it, not the base. Okay, the adjacent of it. And then since that's B equals 2, this is now B, and then C can be this one. Anytime you have SSA, then you have to check. Okay, let's check it first. I want you to find the height. Okay, to find the height is always 90 degrees to the base. So let's call this red thing H. And H is easy to find because I can just, so first find H in red. H is easy because of this. H is forming 90 degrees with the base. That means I can just use sine, okay? Sine of 40 degrees equals to opposite H over hypotenuse, which is 2. And the reason I can use sine of 40 equals opposite over hypotenuse is because this right here is a right triangle. H is always a right triangle to the base. Okay, so when I cross multiply, I now will have H equals 2 times sine of 40 degrees. All right, let's check this out using my calculator. Hopefully I'm not terrible with this. Okay, so 40 degrees, I need to hit sine, okay, and then I need to multiply that to, what was that? Times 2. Okay, so whatever that is, times 2, hit equals 1.2855, so 1.29. So this height is currently at about 1.29 units, okay? Okay, here we go. Then let's check out the cases. It's opposite. A is A bigger. Number one, let's talk about, it's A shorter than height? No, so there will be a triangle, at least one triangle. It's A, so let me spell this out for you. No triangles, okay? It's when the opposite leg, it's shorter than the height. One triangles, there are 2 cases. When the opposite leg is exactly the same as the height, or when the opposite leg is greater than or equal to the adjacent leg. Okay, so is it one triangle? Here's the opposite leg, which is A. A equals 3. Is it greater than or equal to, question mark, adjacent leg, which is B? B is 2. Check. So this is one triangle. If it's one triangle, then I don't have to go any further, right? So I would just now solve for this one triangle normally. So missing parts. Okay, missing parts are, I'm missing leg C, I'm missing angle B, and I'm missing angle C. So here we go. Okay, so the easiest one for me to find right now is really angle B. So sine of angle B over leg B equals angle A over leg A. Angle B is unknown, so I'm going to keep it as B. Leg B is 2. Sine of angle A is 40 degrees, so sine of 40 degrees over leg B, so leg A is 3. Cross multiply, this will give me 3 times sine of angle B equals 2 times sine of 40 degrees. Divide both sides by 3. Okay, so sine of B equals 2 times sine of 40 degrees all over 3. Then compose both sides by sine inverse, so B equals sine inverse of that whole thing. So, okay, so 2 times sine of 40 degrees all over 3. And let me use my calculator. Hopefully I'm okay with using my calculator. So let's sine inverse of, so lots and lots of parentheses, okay? So clear out what I have here. I'm going to do one piece at a time. So I'm going to do sine of 40 first times 2, okay? So 40 Sine of that, great, times 2 equals that. So that's the inner component. So 2 times 40 is that, divided by 3. So let's divide by 3 first. So divide that by 3. Awesome. Now I'm going to take sine inverse of that, sine inverse. So there you go, 25.3739. So 2 decimal places will give me 25.37. So this is about 25.37 degrees. But let me just double check that with my graphing calculator to make sure I'm doing it correctly. Okay, so give me a second. So sine inverse, so let me punch in the inside 2 times sine of 40 divided by 3, then sine inverse of that. Okay, so my calculator is also giving me the same thing, so I know this is okay. So B is about 25.37 degrees. Now that I have B, I can easily find angle C, right? So 180 degrees minus 40 degrees minus 25.37 degrees equals C. So I'm going to use my calculator, my graphing calculator. 180 minus 40 degrees minus 25.37 equals, so C is 114.63 degrees. So 114.63 degrees. Now I just have to find leg C. So leg C, I will use the exact given value, which is the A's, right? Sine of angle A over leg A equals sine of angle C over leg C. Now with the C, I don't have a lot of choices, so I'm just going to use the 114.63. But leg A, it's 40 degrees. I'm sorry, angle A is 40 degrees, and then leg A is 3 units. Sometimes you don't have a lot of choices, then that's when you have to use the approximation. But when you can avoid it, okay? So sine of 114.63 degrees over C, cross multiply, so C equals, oops, sine, not C equals, my bad, C times sine of 40. C times sine of 40 degrees equals 3 times sine of 114.63 degrees. Divide both sides by sine of 40 degrees, okay? I'm just going to use my graphing calculator really quick to punch that all in. Hopefully I can punch that in correctly. So 3 times sine of 114.63 divided by sine of 40 degrees. That is 4.24. So 4.24. And so that is 4.24. And that is the end of example 2A. Now let's do the last example in 8.2, which is example 2B. Again, solve for the triangle. And again, it's giving you side angle. Whoa, caution, right? Now, just like what we did on A, if it gives you one angle, put it here on the left corner. Yep, I said it, left. Whatever letter they gave you, then just assign that angle that letter. Then the opposite of that is 6. Put it right there. Then the remaining leg, put it as here, okay? That means this is B. So, and this is how I want you to label it all the time, okay? When they give you SSA. Then this is C. So what you need to do is now find the height. And again, a height, it's always going to form 90 degrees, so that's going to be easy for me to find the height. Sine of 35 degrees equals h over hypotenuse is 8. Okay, remember, I'm only looking at this triangle. Okay, so h equals 8 times sine of 35 degrees. Then using my calculator, 8 times sine of 35 degrees equals 4.5886 ... Okay, so I now have to see if I have 1 triangle, 2 triangles, and so on and so on. Okay, 0 triangles, right? 0 triangles is when the height, what's happening to the height, is greater than the opposite, or let me just spell that out the old school. Opposite is greater than the height. With 0 triangles, opposite is less than the height. Okay. Opposite is 6 units. 6 units is not less than that, so that's not true. 1 triangle, 2 scenarios. Scenario number 1, it's the opposite, exactly the same as height. Nope. Okay. No, oops. I'm just drooling. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Is the opposite greater than or equal to the adjacent? Opposite is 6, adjacent is 8. Not true either. Oh no. Two triangles. Okay, two triangles. Is the opposite greater than the height? Height is 4.5886. Opposite is 6. Checked. At the same time, is it less than the adjacent? Oops. Adjacent leg is 8. Yes. So guess what? This is the case of two triangles. Well, where do you fit the other triangle? Well, let's just look at the one that you have it drawn first, okay? So you have two triangles. So we're going to find missing parts. So the missing part is going to be, the first one we're calling angle B subscript 1. Angle A is already known, C subscript 1. And we're missing leg C, that's it. So leg C subscript 1, okay? And then the second triangle, let's use a different color later, but right now, this be angle B subscript 2, angle C subscript 2, and leg C subscript 2. There you go. Okay, here we go. Let's find the black triangle normally, okay? So we are going to use law of sine. So sine of A over A equals sine of B over B, little b, okay? A is 35 degrees, so sine of 35 degrees over 6 equals sine of B, which is unknown, over 8, cross multiply. 8 times sine of 35 degrees equals 6 times sine of B, divide both sides by 6. Oops, I did not mean to cross out that sign. Okay, divide both sides by 6, so sine of B equals 8 times sine of 35 degrees all over 6. Yes, you can reduce the 8 and the 6, but why bother, because you're going to punch it in the calculator anyway. So sine inverse of 8 times sine of 35 degrees all over 6. All right, using my hopefully very resourceful calculator. This is a 6. Okay, here we go. Punch it in. 8 times sine of 35, close it, divided by 6, and then I do sine inverse of whatever answer I got. So B is now 49.88. So 2 decimal places, so 49.89 degrees. Now you should really use your own calculator to test or check my math, okay? So 49.89 degrees. So C is, I can just take 180 minus 35 degrees minus 49.89 to give me C, and that will give me 180 minus 35 minus 49.89, 95.11 degrees. So 95.11 degrees. Let's find little c, okay? Little c, then I'm going to use A again because that's the exact value. Let me just write the formula first. Okay, sine of A over A equals sine of C over C, okay? So sine of A is 35 degrees. Little a is 6, sine of C, which is found at 95.11 over little c. So when you cross multiply, c times sine of 35 degrees equals 6 times sine of 95.11. Divide both sides by sine of 35 degrees. Punch in my calculator. Let's see. 6 times sine of 95.11, close that, divided by sine of 35 degrees, close that. So C is 10.42 units, okay? So 10.42 units. Okay, so that's the black triangle. Now remember in class, we talked about how would we put the blue triangle. So the blue triangle, move this way, okay? This leg and that leg. So this right here is really what I'm looking at. So where's B2? B2 is now this one, okay? Now C2 is still in the same spot except that it's going to be smaller. So keep that in mind. So that means I'm going to solve for it. very similarly, except that I need to find angle B2 first, okay? Angle B2, remember, you already found B. So B was 49. This right here is 49.89 degrees. Keep that in mind, okay? That means this right here is the same angle, okay? It's also 49.89. How would I find B2? B2 is this angle, okay? This angle right here is B2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 180 minus my B1, okay? And that means B1 is, so B2 equals 180 minus B1 was 49.89. So that means 180, use my calculator, 180 minus 49.89 is 130.11 degrees. And if you look at the picture, B2 is definitely an obtuse, okay? Now, how would I get C2? Well, C2 is 180 minus 130.11 minus angle A, which is given to us at 35 degrees. So as you can expect that this angle, let me get a different color, like pink. This is C2 right here. C2 is right there, that angle. It's going to be really small, which is expected, right? Because if B2 is ginormous, C2 is going to be small. So here we go, 180 minus 130.11 minus 35 is going to be 14.89 degrees for C2. Okay, so that's 14.89 degrees for C2. Then I'm just going to look for sine of C2. Let me erase. Okay, so sine of big C2 over little c2 equals sine of angle A over little a. So C2, angle C2 is already known at 14.89 degrees over little c2 is what we're trying to find. Sine of 35 is angle A, and leg A was 6. Cross multiply. C2 times sine of 35 degrees equals 6 times sine of 14.89 degrees. Divide both sides by sine of 35 degrees. Okay, so C2 using my calculator again, here we go. 6 times sine of 14.89. Close it, divided by sine of 35, which is 2.69. Okay, and yes, C2 is supposed to be small because angle C2 is small. So that is what we're looking at. Now, if this problem confuses you, please listen to it again. And this is the end of our 8.2.